you. So,
yep. Well, welcome to the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast on Tobacco Road Sports Radio and TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com as part of your Wrestling Wednesday lineup. I'm your host, Michael Davis, and joined by a certain person, certain individual. In 2024, we've been conducting interviews with some beloved people in the wrestling business. This one means a little bit more to me because a couple of moons ago, I was a little boy running around the Mulberry Rec Center. And somebody drove all the way to Lenore, North Carolina, just to wrestle. And then several years later, we reconnected at my birthday where I got to play double duty as both the manager and the referee for his match. And today, he is the AML Wrestling Champion ahead of this Sunday's AML event, Wanted Man, where he teams with Nic Nemeth to face JAC and Zuka King. Please, without further ado, welcome the one-star, Brad Attitude.
Wow. What an intro. I couldn't even imagine introing myself that nicely. So thank you. I knew you were going to remind me and re-jog my memory of where we met, but Mulberry Rec Center, Lenore, North Carolina, had to be 2004, 2005, like so long ago. I don't even remember, but man, I was just a wee boy too, starting in the wrestling business. So I love, and then I'll never forget your birthday party. I didn't do these very often, but when they mentioned you, I think it's actually the only birthday party I ever did. You kind of were able to book your own matches, if I'm not mistaken.
I had no idea. It was a complete surprise to me.
Was it not me and Trevor Lee teaming up?
It was you and Trevor Lee teaming up.
Yeah, the only time ever. So I thought you booked that. So, that you were a manager. That's good times, man. That's all I'll say. So,
yeah, I believe my dad booked that, and it was a complete surprise. I remember,
that's what it was.
Dad's like invite, 10 friends or so, and I brought them, and they blindfolded me for like the last 10 minutes of the ride. I had no idea where we were going, and the next thing they like take your blindfold off, and you're standing right there. It was like. I was like, am I dreaming? Did I like fall asleep with the blindfold on? But it ended up being
the only birthday party I've ever done. So it's kudos to you. And you've supported me. You and your family have supported me for so long. I mean, you've got my merch. You bought every shirt. You come to all my shows. I'm so proud of what you've done, what you've built. Yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. OneStarMerch.com. You can get your own or one of these. The brand new Brad Attitude, Nic Nemeth tag team. Bad Boys are back this Sunday. But yeah, Drop the Mic podcast. I see what you're doing. Tobacco Road Radio. I follow you on Twitter. I see all those clips. You're making a big name for yourself, and I'm very proud of what you've done. You've always been a wrestling fan, and anytime I can see fans follow their dreams, get to do stuff no matter what stage it's on, I'm always in support of that. So kudos to you.
And just so you guys know, he's not just saying that because we're recording. He's told me that personally, which means the world to me. And you mentioned your shirt right there, Bad Boys, Attitude and Heel teaming up this weekend.
Bad Boys are back, baby.
I can't help but notice those are Raiders colors.
Oh, of course. Anything I can do. It's actually black and white, but black and silver close enough. Anytime I can. The other shirt's pink, so I wasn't able to do Browns colors for Nick, but I'm a diehard Raiders fan, Vegas season ticket holder. Nick's obviously a diehard Browns fan, so anytime we get to Vegas together, which is quite a bit, we like to go to Circa, our favorite casino, throw a little cheddar on. Browns win the Super Bowl, Raiders win the Super Bowl. Neither one have ever happened since we've been alive, but it's always a fun time. And I don't hold it against you that you and your family are diehard Cowboys fans, which make me want to vomit. But other than that, I love sports. I love sporting events. And obviously I love going to Raiders games. I love Vegas in general. I love tailgates, all that stuff. So yeah, this is Raiders colors and makes me look more tan than I am. So
nice. Well, I would be remiss without mentioning the NFL draft is tomorrow. And so before I start asking you some wrestling questions, I got to ask, who do you think the Raiders take this weekend with the draft?
What a great question. Being a fan for so long, I've been through the muck of the Raiders forever. I remember Jamarcus Russell. I remember I mean, all of these drafts, draft day used to make me so anxious as a Raiders fan and so uncomfortable because I knew somehow we were going to mess it up. We would always, Darius Hayward-Bay comes to mind. Some of these draft picks that were just nowhere close to where we were supposed to draft them. Even Cleveland Farrell more recently, we've reached for quite a bit of stuff. So being a fan for so long, I obviously follow all the pages. I'm in just the worst muck and rabbit holes of Raiders Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. And you hear the dumbest things that people want to do. Mortgage our entire future on Jaden Daniels going up to number 2. Believe me, nothing would make me happier than if we got Jaden Daniels. I would love to get him at 13 where we are currently sitting. That will not happen. So what I don't want to do is reach so much where we do, I hate to say it, I'm in Carolina right now, but I hate to say it, but like a Bryce Young deal where we give up our entire life to get a quarterback that we don't know. I do think obviously Antonio Pierce and Jaden Daniels have a history at Arizona State, and I would love for Jaden Daniels to be our quarterback. But what I don't want to do is give away every pick we have. So at 13, I don't know what we would do. Obviously, we need a quarterback. I love Gardner Minshew. I think he's a Band-Aid. But I do think he's serviceable to where I wouldn't want to reach. I don't think we go Michael Penix at 13. Certainly don't think we go Bo Nix. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's going to be down there. So great question. I think I would lean towards defense, maybe a defensive back, whatever lineman help we can get. But I love talking football. I can talk football to you the entire time.
Yeah, we could do that. Of course, Al Pocket will be on tomorrow, and we'll talk more extensively about the draft. But, you know, since you're here and since you're wearing that shirt, a lot of people don't know this isn't the first time that Nic Nemeth and Brad Attitude have teamed up together. You guys were in WWE Developmental. And I want to know, how did you guys become tag team partners? But also, you guys seem to be really good friends off screen as well.
That's a great question. And we weren't to begin with. So when I first got to WWE so I signed my contract. A famous story, I don't know if you know or not, but October 24th, 2007, the day after I signed my contract, my mother was killed in a car accident. I took quite a bit of time there to just cope, and I just achieved my dream the day before, and then basically the best day of my life and the worst day of my life back to back. So I've obviously with the news of Trevor Lee today, I feel for that. I've dealt with that. I've been talking to him. It's a very rough day sometimes. This business is very difficult. There is no exit strategy. It's all glitz and glamour at the beginning, but it becomes really heartless, and it's just, you truly understand it's a business sometimes. So my heart goes out to Trevor Lee. But anyway, point of the story is, when I get back, when I took a break, I think from October to maybe I reported to FCW in Tampa first week of December. And I kind of fledged around for maybe 4 weeks or so before we went on Christmas break. And they had me as a baby face. I was a campus legend. Obviously I had short brown hair. I was just I was a good worker, but whatever they hired me for. I'll never forget. I went to mocap, which is motion capture for the video game. I flew to LA, and Dr. Tom apparently saw something in me on that flight. The way, I don't know, maybe girls were flirting with me. I don't know what he saw, but either way, he saw something different than what I was portraying at WWE at the time. I was still kind of the college character, Van Wilder. I love to drink. Obviously, shout out New Belgium, the only New Belgium sponsored pro wrestler in the world. Hard charge tea, that's delicious. That's so delicious. Hard charge tea on a beautiful day like this, you can't beat it. But apparently Dr. Tom saw something, and I actually don't know who made the call. I assume it came from somebody up top. I'd like to thank them because in turn it created one of my best friends I've ever had. But when we came back from Christmas break, we did a few shows, and I'll never forget, it was like at the Jewish Community Center in Port Richey, Florida or something. We used to do shows at like a Harley Davidson dealership, at a USA flea market. I mean, if you were lucky enough to be around Tampa during the early days of FCW, and you'd see Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Ziggler, Shawn Spears, Cena would be there. Like, so many people would go, and you would just be going to a flea market and all of a sudden run into a WWE show. It was unbelievable. But I'll never forget the Jewish Community Center. We had just got done with the show, and Dr. Tom and Steve called me and Nemeth into the office, and we thought we were in trouble. We were like, what do we do? We were like thinking about all sorts of stuff that who knows what we did. And they just sat us down and said the office was to see you guys together. And I was like, that's cool. I was a singles. Obviously, Nick had already done Spirit Squad, had already kind of done Chavo Caddy and different things. And he's a single star. I mean, let's be honest. He's one of the best workers that's ever been in our business. So I don't know whether he thought it was a step down. He certainly never showed it to me. He put everything he had into that tag team. We were very successful 2-time tag team champions. I wasn't in FCW that long. WWE didn't give me that long of a run there. So to have that much success with him was a testament to our tag team. And then, of course, when we got together, we needed to look the part. And so he was a bleached blonde guy that was shredded. And so I guess I gotta dye my hair. And it actually helped with the campus legend character. It helped being a spiky frat boy. I wore a beer helmet. I wore a visor. People hated me. They thought we were douchebags. And then they put Taryn Terrell with us, who was a Playboy Playmate, Girls of College, who turned out to be Tiffany, and then had an awesome wrestling career, mostly in TNA. But I love Taryn with us. She kind of finalized the look, and we looked awesome together. Obviously, the higher ups in WWE. I mean, they had plans for Nick. I think they had plans for Taryn, and I was of course the scapegoat and cut bait there. But yeah, that's why we became a team. And then it kind of morphed into a friendship, 24/7 thing that you kind of hear tag teams and different stuff like that form. But our true friendship formed after I was fired. I mean, when we were only around for like a year. And we would go to some shows together, but I was dating somebody in FCW at the time. He was dating somebody, so we would ride the shows kind of separately. And we really, when I was fired, and he was. Long story short, when you get fired, especially in the wrestling business, you find out who's your friends and who's your acquaintances. Unfortunately, it's a cutthroat business. You see who. Either has a reason to have you around anymore, or is just truly your friend because you guys are friends. And he was one of the very few that picked up the phone. He was one of the very few that stayed in touch with me. And then, of course, afterwards, I didn't know how much he liked bands like Motley Crue or stuff that I love. So we didn't get that time. It wasn't like we had time in WWE to go to concerts together and go do stuff like that. We were either on the road or at training, and those practices were brutal and all that stuff. So actually keeping in touch, and I was following him, and always, I mean, the run he had there for 19 years, multiple time world champion, one of the biggest pops in the history of Raw, all that stuff. I couldn't be more proud. So I was always on the sidelines cheering him on. And even when I was doing stuff, I would be in town for an indie I was doing, or Dragon Gate or Evolve or something for WrestleMania, and we would always get together. But when Motley Crue would be on tour, that's when we really became really tight friends. And we would pick a couple of dates on the calendar and just go to we would go away from where we both lived and meet up. And that was the time where and now I consider him my best friend. And obviously I talk to him more than I talk to my family. And it's mostly, don't get me wrong, it's mostly just the funniest stuff between him and Gallows and Hurricane, three of my friends that are by far the funniest people walking God's green earth. I am constantly laughing. And so most of our conversations are complete and utter chaos. But it's still awesome. He's a great friend. And this show means a lot to me Sunday, in the fact that I never thought I would be able to team with him again. When a guy like that trajectory, I certainly never wanted, as selfish as you could be, to say, I kind of hope he gets fired so I could be on the Indian. I never thought that. I wanted him to be successful forever. And maybe he invites me to his Hall of Fame one day and I get to sit in the crowd and he goes, hey, that guy was cool. That's what you wish for. But unfortunately, as you saw today with Trevor Lee, an immensely talented person that they just didn't see money in at the time. He's going to go out and go somewhere and prove them wrong, and they're going to regret ever doing that. The same as Nic is doing currently. Nic didn't sit on his ass. The same as Broski, Matt Cardona. He showed the path of once you get cut, there's a whole new life out there. And I've been living it on a smaller extent. Of course, it wasn't the same path I had in 2009 when I got cut, but the path now, you can make your path the way whatever you want it to be. And the way Nemeth has went out to New Japan, the way he surprised everybody in TNA, he's got so much stuff up his sleeve. And I'm excited to see what he's doing. And I'm very grateful that he chose, and he wanted this. He wanted to be a part of this. And he goes, I want to come to your house where you're the champion. Just so happened I had some guys that treated me bad. Some guys that I tried to take under my wing, take under the learning tree, guide them to the right path. And they double-crossed me, and they said I didn't have any friends, and they were right. I don't have any friends in AML. I've screwed that up myself and doing what I could to keep the AML title. But I did have a friend, and I had a friend who is very good at pro wrestling, and they will find that out Sunday in Statesville, North Carolina.
I would say so. I would say Nic Nemeth knows a thing or two about pro wrestling. And you mentioned Trevor Lee. I'd be remiss without mentioning, like, the birthday party almost coincided around the same time of you and Trevor Lee having some great main events in CWF. Man. And I was front row for one of those battles, and I believe it was one of the last times where you hit him with a beer bottle and won. And I still say to this day, not because you're my guest today on the pod, but like that's one of the best independent wrestling matches I've ever seen. And it was just such an incredible experience. And like the emotion you guys pulled out of the crowd that night was incredible. And I know it's going to be the same thing this Sunday. I've gotten to watch, Nic Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, on WWE. I've gotten to watch you throughout your career. JAC, I followed him early on. We have a mutual friend that he went to school with. Zuka King, I called his match at Squared Circle Champions just a couple weeks ago on commentary. Like it's crazy seeing this main event come together, and also knowing you and Nic Nemeth are like best friends now where you guys weren't. Do you think there's going to be a different dynamic in the ring with him now that you guys are so close?
And don't get me wrong, the stuff you said about JAC and Zuka King, I completely agree with. Those guys, there's a reason why I latched to them and I wanted to teach them. I wanted to make them better. They do all the right things in the business. They make the towns, like you said. They run the roads. They put the effort in. You see it day in and day out. And that's the kind of stuff that I gravitate towards. I want to make people better. I see that the matches, the length of my career, I'm on the back end of it, and they are just now starting. So I'm trying to help them. It just so happens that they did completely, they did what a lot of kids nowadays, they think the world owes them everything. They think they don't have to work for it. They said, I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm going to beat this guy down, make him famous. He's not going to come back to me. He's the AML champion. He's got other stuff to worry about. Well, you know what? I do have other stuff to worry about, but right now the only focus is beating those two. And I'm still going to take them under the learning tree. It's just I'm going to snap a couple switches off and break them off in their asses. So unfortunately, that's what's going to have to happen. But you mentioned Trevor Lee, and I'm going to get to your Nic question because I think it's a great question. Trevor Lee is probably the greatest opponent I've had in the fact that I had a year-long angle with him where we did everything. I mean, like you said, I shattered a bottle over his head. I helped him win the CWF Mid-Atlantic title. He went 95 minutes with Roy Wilkins, one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. I helped him win that match. I felt like I was short-sighted and he was thanking everybody else but me. I may or may not have been right about that. Shattered a bottle over his head. Then I completely changed my character. I don't really wrestle a match for a full year. All I do is mess with Trevor. And it's such an angle, and people talk about it on YouTube a lot. It was during a period where CWF Mid-Atlantic was only on YouTube. There wasn't much traction. It was very viral on Twitter, but that was it. But I think, and I think Trevor will say the same thing. Trevor's one of the best athletes there is, one of the best wrestlers there are in doing a match A to Z. And then I don't mean A to Z like planning stuff. I just mean A to Z as far as the moves in the ring and the emotion. But as people are seeing now, and there's a lot of debate online, 5-star, I hate all that stuff. Obviously, I'm the 1-star. That means I hate everything Meltzer says about 5 stars. I think Cody and Roman from WrestleMania is just as good as Ospreay and Danielson just was. As far as the story they told, what they did there, it doesn't matter if you tried to kill yourself or drop them on your neck 100 times. Like, people don't understand what it takes to just tell a good story. And so I think Trevor needed a villain that was so vile, and I was at that time. I was a scumbag. A villain that was so bad that they had a reason to go, I'm going to cheer for this guy, not only because he's just a super great wrestler in the ring and he does a lot of cool stuff and he's really vicious, and Trevor Lee's one of the best I've ever been in the ring with, but I do think they go, I want him to kick that guy's ass so bad, and that's why I'm going to pay money. That's why we drew the best houses during that time. And just a year and a half, and people have made great YouTube videos. You can search it, Brad Attitude, Trevor Lee. Some of the best stuff, some of the best storytelling. The fact that I got to choose a stipulation in the match, and I chose it could only be 30 minutes or less, considering Trevor doesn't even get warm within 30 minutes. Like, he goes an hour and a half every time. So the fact that the bad guy gets to go, you have to beat me in 30 minutes, and I know you hate doing that. You hate wrestling 10-minute matches, which unfortunately is all he's been doing right now in WWE, which is probably why they did underestimate his talent, is because they haven't seen his talent.
Mm.
And so a lot of people, I know he was helping Logan Paul get ready for Mania. I know he was helping do a lot of stuff training-wise. He deserves every bit of that main event stage at WrestleMania. And he shouldn't be the one. He did great, and he did it humbly to help somebody else get ready, but he deserves to be on that stage just as much. Anyway, sorry I kind of hijacked this entire show.
No,
But your question about Nick brought up a great point, and something I really hadn't thought about. We teamed together over 15 years ago, and we've been together. Obviously, we've been to concerts, we've partied, we've done all that stuff, but the physical aspect of it, and not even to mention, we're also 15 years older than we were. These guys are young bucks. These JAC and Zuka King are young in their careers. So you bring up a valid point. I would be stupid to overlook it, but I do think, like you said, I think we're better. I'm in better shape than I was in 2008. I'm a much better wrestler. I'm much smarter. And I think the camaraderie that we have built in those 15 years of being friends is much better than just being thrown together on a WWE stage. And also the pressure of WWE and trying to make it and trying not to piss somebody off and walking on eggshells. I mean, that first year, I was trying to do anything I could not to get fired. And now I don't give a damn. I'm the AML champ. I'm the greatest AML champ of all time. I own this place. And these guys are trying to step on my house with my best friend coming into town, doing them a favor by even gracing in the ring with his presence. Come on, man. I mean, it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a party. And I hope everybody comes to Statesville, North Carolina on Sunday to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you need to get them like ASAP before it sells out. Nic Nemeth, Brad Attitude are teaming up, main event against Abusive Power, JAC, Zuka King. Matt Hardy just got announced. Nikita Koloff is going to be there.
People want to be there. Matt Hardy he's a free agent on Sunday. He goes, hey, can I come to AML on Sunday? I'll just set up and I want to meet the fans. I'm free. I want to go do this. I know that Brad and Nick are going to have they're going to draw the crowd. Matt Hardy wants to leech off of it. I get it. I love Matt. Come on. The more, the merrier. I want to see everyone there.
Now, you did mention you were the AML champion. You did say that you're the greatest AML champion of all time. Who do we see like in future events? Because you're not always going to be tag teaming with Nemeth.
No, not at all. This is a
title.
Yeah, of course. This is a once. I mean, you don't say once in a lifetime in wrestling anymore because Rock and Cena ruined that for us.
Right.
But this is, I don't foresee. Listen, my friend demands. He's a wanted man. Pardon the expression. Yeah, there's a lot of people that want him. He costs a pretty penny. I don't pay that, obviously. Somebody pays him. So we don't have the luxury of having him back to team with me. And I wouldn't want it that way. This is a special time. This is kind of a reunion. I'm treating it as like spring break. It's going to be an absolute great time. But who knows? I mean, I have vanquished all of the foes you can get. Maybe they'll bring somebody in. Maybe it's Matt Hardy. I don't know. I beat him last year. Who knows what's coming in? I told Trevor Lee he better stay the hell away from AML. I am not. He's got 90 days. He needs to stay the hell away. I'm just healing from when he kicked my ass in 2016. I don't want him a part of I got to wrestle for an hour and him kick my face off and stuff like that. No. He needs to go do something else. But that's a great question. I mean, AML is the best company. One of the best companies I've ever worked for there, especially on the indies. I mean, to do what they do in a classy manner. I know I joke around about, there's been a lot of conspiracies. Don't get me wrong. I still believe that they've messed with me a little bit. The whole White Mike debacle was a scam. I shouldn't even have been a part of that. But those guys do good business and they bring stars in. So I am the only star of the show, the one star. But I mean, to answer your question, I don't really know and I don't really care.
Okay. Well, we'll have to stay in tune for who is going to be Brad Attitude's next challenger after this event. But you can go see him, Statesville, North Carolina. The Meet the Stars is at 2 p.m. Brad might be there. He might grace your,
I'll be there. You think I'm not taking advantage of selling some stuff? I got my buddy there for the only time I know. He's got a meet and greet, which I think is sold out. But I'll be hawking his signed figures. We've got a combo of the shirt, the hat, the signed print. I have a one-time only signed print of our pictures now combined with, and I can send it to you. Maybe you can put it on this graphic. Our old pictures, our new pictures. I got it professionally done. We're signing those. I'm going to be absolutely 2:00. I might be there at 1:30. Who knows? But I'm going to be there to meet the fans. Absolutely. It's at West Iredell High School, Statesville, North Carolina, Sunday, April 28th.
Yep. West Iredell this Sunday at the high school, Statesville, North Carolina. And Brad, I know we ran a little over, the interview time, but
I don't care a bit. I'm talking to you. I'm proud of you for doing this. I hope your fans understand how good and knowledgeable you are. I hope I brought a little bit of star power to the Drop the Mic podcast. And I can't wait to see you and everyone this Sunday at AML.
Yeah, Drop the Mic was missing some star power, but I think I found that missing ingredient now. But
I'm not gonna be like Nick and join you weekly like he does at Busted Open. I can't imagine somebody paying him enough money to force him to watch wrestling. Because he famously does not watch, as he likes to say. But no, I will not be a weekly guest. But anytime you need me to bring up the star power, if you see the ratings are falling, if you see something like that, don't hesitate to reach out. I will be your life preserver, my friend. As much as you've helped me out, as much as you've supported the merch, you just let me know.
Okay, I will. Be careful with what you wish for. But everybody, you guys have been seeing his stuff scrolling on the bottom. You can find his merch at onestarmerch.com. You can follow him on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Brad Attitude. But we'll let Brad go train for this Sunday's tag team main event. And when we come back, we're going to talk some mainstream. We're going to talk some WWE, some AEW from this past weekend. And stay tuned right here on the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast.
Big stuff in the wrestling business. Tune in to Drop the Mic. He's the only one to listen to.
Welcome back to the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast on Tobacco Road Sports Radio. Just wanted to give a quick shout out. Brad Attitude just joined the show for a podcast appearance. He's going main event AML with Nic Nemeth against JAC and Zuka King. You can find his merch at onestarmerch.com. Follow him on X at Brad Attitude. And come to West Iredell High School this weekend. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. But right now, I got my co-host from the Cat Cave. He got his Tobacco Road start because of Drop the Mic. And now we get him back finally. Shannon, there's a lot to recap here in the short amount of time we have left on Drop the Mic. But AEW Revolution was this past Sunday. Man, what a show. The big talking point is Ospreay and Danielson. What was your takeaway from that match?
Okay, now for those who have not followed our wrestling Facebook page, the Wrestling Movement, you need to follow it first and foremost. Shameless self-plug here for me and MD and Dez and PJ Steven. All those guys are doing wonderful stuff with all their postings. I made a post, or I think I commented on a post where it said that Bryan Danielson is completing a wrestling bucket list. And that's basically what he's doing. He's wrestling the biggest names in all of wrestling in the world. Not just, just in the world. He wrestled Kazuchika Okada. He's wrestling so many big names. And of course, the biggest name in all of wrestling, if you have been under a rock the past few years, is Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's got in the ring with Kenny Omega twice for titles, and they've just been incredible in the ring. And this match is being dubbed as probably the best wrestling match of all time. And I can't lie and say that it's not. It was an incredible match. Bryan Danielson is doing great work right now. A lot of people thought that Bryan Danielson's work was like his best work was done in WWE. Wrong. His best work is happening right now, right in front of our eyes. He is dream match after dream match after dream match. And this right here, if this match is not match of the year this year, I don't know what is. It has to be.
Well, it's weird because we said the same thing in Greensboro at AEW Revolution when we saw Ospreay and Takeshita. And then, a month goes by, and we're saying that about Ospreay and Danielson. And Brad mentioned, Ospreay Danielson, and then you had Cody Roman. The storytelling in both matches was incredible. The final sequence where Ospreay and Danielson are back to back, they are ready to charge, and they're like, I'm gonna hit you with my best shot, and we'll see what happens. That was phenomenal. Not like my light work right now. I promise you, I am not this pale in real life. But maybe Bray Wyatt would have something to say about that.
I can give you some. I'm trying to give you some right now. It's not working. I'm trying.
We're trying here. That's what happens when you record a lot of content in one day and your ring light decides to mess up, but we're still rolling because we got audio feed as well. It's just it's the nature of the game with technical difficulties. But it was really cool, being on the topic of Swerve Strickland winning the AEW world title. It looks like we swerve when we drive. Incredible work. Incredible match. And Swerve said he wanted to be the first Black AEW world champion. And he delivered. Shannon, what are your thoughts on this?
This was what I was hoping would happen. I love Joe. Now, I've watched Joe wrestle many, many matches in TNA and WWE. I thought his WWE run was not as great as it could have been. I know injury was another thing as well, too. That happens in the game. But when they transitioned the title to Samoa Joe, I thought it was a great idea. Did I think that Joe was going to have a long run as champion? No. But Joe adds relevance to that title. And that makes it important because you got to put a title on a believable character. And Joe is very believable. He's held many titles, many different wrestling organizations. Joe is great. But when you got a guy like Swerve Strickland who is having an incredible run, and by the way, this guy right here, the man you're seeing, Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty, said that Swerve Strickland would break out.
He did.
And he broke out by winning the AEW Championship. The storytelling in this match was great. The brute of Joe, the non-quitting, never say die attitude of Swerve Strickland. I'm gonna make a name for myself in this organization called AEW. It happened. And he delivered, Joe delivered. It was great for wrestling fans out there. And Swerve gets to celebrate, and that goal looks good on him.
Man, and it was awesome to see, especially following his career. Like, he did incredible work in Lucha Underground.
Yes.
But he did it under another alias. He did his kill shot. And to see him go to WWE, and it felt like they had something there with Hit Row. And it just, for some reason, it didn't work. It didn't pan out. And then for Swerve to go to AEW almost simultaneously as Keith Lee, and just he took the ball and he ran with it, and he wasn't turning back. It was one of those runs I think we'll look back on, Shannon, and say, man, he wasn't letting anybody deny him. And I think he's going to do incredible. I know we just talked about the Ospreay Danielson match. I feel like it's going to be Swerve versus Ospreay when they go back to Wembley in August, dude. That's what I'm feeling, and I feel like we're going to get to see the summer of Swerve.
I like it. I really hope that is the case. Or if we have an MJF sighting, I don't know if we will. That's another thing that I was thinking of as well, too, because if and when MJF's contract is negotiated, which I'm pretty sure it will be. I don't see him going to WWE right now, especially with how WWE is doing in the transition that they are going in. I don't see that happening with him going there. I expect to see him back in AEW, and I expect that matchup to be there. I expect MJF to come back full force, be that wonderful heel that we love to cannot stand, and Swerve being an over babyface right now. And I think that that'll probably, but now let's not count out Ospreay and Swerve it all in. Let's not count that out. No. But whoever wins that match is more than likely going to get MJF down the road, because that man is still in the title picture still. Even with the loss to Joe, I think that he's still in the title picture. He's one of the hottest heels in all of wrestling. You have to do it. They were smart by putting a title on an over heel like MJF. It was a smart move to do, and I think that it was great. But now that you've got that babyface title run that's happening right now with Swerve, because everybody's liking Swerve right now, he's the flavor. Let's keep it going, and let's make this a memorable rivalry. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited, and I hate the tribalism with AEW and WWE fans. Just enjoy pro wrestling, because we are in a boom period right now when it comes to pro wrestling.
Yeah, Dez said it best. At one point in time, you were kind of like, I'm a wrestling fan.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
Did you hear me? I'm a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. Who likes wrestling here? But now it's like, who watches wrestling? When I've got friends of mine who are tuning into your podcast as well, too, that are tuning in Out of Pocket when we have Top Rope Tuesday, who are tuning in and listening to the podcast where we're talking about wrestling. And you even said it, ESPN is covering wrestling. Pat McAfee has got a whole show, and the block is catered to wrestling, because wrestling has gotten better. Wrestling is cool again. And many people who may have not been wrestling fans before are starting to pay attention to wrestling, and they're starting to see the relevance to real life and the entertaining aspect of wrestling, and they're coming to it. It's great. I've got people asking me, well, You do this with these guys here. What about these guys? What about this guy? Who is he? Who is she? And I'm happy to be like, let me go ahead and break down this master class for you. Let's go. It all started in 2021 when the title changed hands. So I feel good. I feel good explaining it. So yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. Thank you, by the way, to Shannon's friends watching the podcast. You guys can subscribe to the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel. Those are our socials scrolling on the bottom for you guys to keep in touch with us, follow us, say hey in the comments as well. And then of course, Shannon mentioned our Out of Pocket episode yesterday on Tuesday afternoon. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll probably cover more of the NFL draft tomorrow since it's draft weekend, of course. But we'll probably cover, WWE's draft on the back end next week on Drop the Mic. But before we get out, I would be remiss without mentioning there is a new WWE Women's World Champion, and that is the man, Becky Lynch. I've already seen some people on social media, Shannon, that have been unhappy with Becky Lynch winning the title. They thought it should have been on Liv or Nia Jax. And Shannon, to those people, I say, calm down. Like, yeah, Becky lost at WrestleMania to Rhea Ripley and then won a few weeks later. Yeah, but you know what else? They didn't expect Rhea Ripley to go down with an injury. And WWE's most reliable people have been Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. And they have been absolutely phenomenal for the company. Rollins worked with a torn meniscus and basically a bad back the last 3-4 months. Becky Lynch goes and takes time off, and then they're like, oh, Rhea's hurt. Jump in on this UK tour, and then we're going to put the title on you to help whoever is next. Like, man, I wish they put some more respect on the man's name. Do you feel the same way?
It was the smart move putting the title on her. I thought that she was going to win it going in. I mean, why not give the title to the runner-up? And that was a good match on top of that, too. That was a good match. So I don't see what the problem would be. But, the internet going internet. It's going to be what it's going to be. You're going to put a title on Nia Jax, and someone out there is going to talk about it. You're going to put the title on Liv. Someone's going to talk bad about it. But I believe more than anything is that Becky is going to hold on to that title. And when Rhea is ready to come back, that title may have already changed hands in turn of her comeback. Because we do have to see what happens with Liv Morgan's Revenge Tour. We got to see what's going to happen because they're going to meet down the road in a match. They're going to meet down the road. It's going to happen. I think right now, I think it's kind of like what Joe did. Joe had the title. Becky Lynch has the title. She'll be a transitional champion, and that's okay because a lot of those transitional champions help build the stories, help build these stars. Them getting in the ring with seasoned vets is going to be good for them, and it's going to be good long-term storytelling, which is something that Triple H is doing right now. Y'all, this is the part where I need the internet wrestling community to chill. Because we are in a boom period of wrestling. These long-term stories are working, especially in WWE, because they took the title off Roman and the Bloodline story is still going. Cody's story has been finished. There's more wrinkles into this story. What makes you think that there's not going to be a wrinkle to this story here? Because this is actually a good story because with Rhea Ripley going out injured, it's going to open up the door for these younger guys to go ahead and go with Becky Lynch. And then when Rhea's ready, she'll pick up where she left off. Relax, y'all.
Relax. And just like Shane said, I'm going to need y'all to chill. I've heard that a couple times from my tag team partner as well. We do commentary for Squared Circle Champions. I've done a couple events this year. Austin Aries was that last one. So if you guys get a chance and you like indie wrestling, AML is available, SCC is available, and you guys can get your picture made with not your favorite commentary duo, because that's reserved for like JR and Jerry the King Lawler for me. There's some good commentary duos, but we're going to try to do them justice as well. You mentioned the Bloodline story. Tama Tonga's kind of following suit with Solo Sikoa right before we head out. Do you think they're going about building Solo Sikoa the right way?
They better. I think that they realized that this was a good idea. You know, they got Paul Heyman doing the talking, but then you got Solo going from enforcer to the leader. He put on that suit on Friday, put the suit on. I said, uh-oh. I said, I know what this means. And then Thomas being the silent, he's being the enforcer now. So he's got the silent enforcer and Tama Tonga. This is a good idea. I'm thinking along with this is talking about that the Usos are going to go to Raw and have that babyface run, probably get the tag team titles. The Bloodline story is not done. There's going to be, Roman's going to take his time off, and then so Sikoa's going to go in there. I mean, there's so many avenues that can go with this story. It is insane with how this story can continue to go. It's still one of the best stories in all of wrestling, and I think it is going to get better with or without the World Championship. It's going to get better, and there's an opportunity for the Usos to go back to being heels again, or it could be an opportunity for Roman to become a super babyface. There is so many avenues. There's so many roads they can go with this, no pun intended, Cody. But there's so many ways that they can go about this story, and it's gotten better. I thought that the title leaving was going to be like, oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do with these guys? We were more interested in what they're going to do with Cody, and we forgot about this tandem here of the Samoans. And then all of a sudden, Tama Tonga comes in, and they're like, whoa. Here they go. There they go with him, which was a total surprise for me when Tama Tonga came out of nowhere. I was like, that's how they're going to do it. That's, you know what? Forget the Bullet Club. I love the Bullet Club. Forget the Bullet Club right now. Forget them. It's okay. Let Tama be in the bloodline and be bigger and better. I know. I said the same thing. I know. I'm looking for a Bullet Club reunion. I am. But I think I'm good right now. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I think I'm good right now. I really think I am.
I like the ones to the sky, Shannon. I mean, we could have gotten it too sweet, but we acknowledge our tribal chief here on Drop the Mic. They're doing phenomenal. And if you remember back in December, Roman already declared Solo as the guy next in line to be tribal chief, and Solo's already taken that. He's like, Roman just lost his title. Now I got to step up. And I feel like there's going to be a clash down the road. Maybe Clash of the Castle.
Yeah. There's a difference between winning and losing. When he said that, I said, uh-oh. Here it comes.
The thumb.
Spike. There it is. Whew. Getting better. It's getting better, y'all. If you're new to wrestling, if you're a younger wrestling fan, this is the storytelling that this guy right here grew up with. And this is what made wrestling cool from the beginning.
You talking about Shattered Dreams?
Well, yeah, that too. That was in there somewhere. That's fine. But this is what made wrestling cool from the beginning, and now there's no doubt that wrestling is even cooler.
Now, if you've been following Drop the Mic, you know that Shattered Dreams reference, because Shan probably made his first Drop the Mic appearance around a year ago, and he was like, "You don't know Shattered Dreams." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You underestimate me and how much wrestling I've watched in my lifetime. But Shan, it's been great to have you back on Drop the Mic this week. We also dropped the Cat Cave episode with Ryan talking about the Panthers draft that's going to happen. Panthers draft Friday, unless they trade up. But we're going to talk about that on the Cat Cave this week. Again, special shout out to Brad Attitude for hopping in. Go see him and myself. I will be there too Sunday, April, whatever the date is, 29th, I think. 28th, April 28th. It'll be at West Iredell High School, Statesville, North Carolina. Brad Attitude, Nic Nemeth against JAC and Zuka King, the Abusive Power. Matt Hardy's going to be there. Nakia Koloff's going to be there. Top Dollar's going to be there. They are bringing like all the stars out. Super excited. And I brought the stars out. I brought the 1-star out, Brad Attitude, and I brought my right-hand man, my tag team partner, Shannon Smith, that you can follow at podcast_Smitty. And you can follow us on our social media scrolling on the bottom here. But we got to get out here. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week for another Drop the Mic episode. Until then, don't drop the mic. We will see you all next week.